very big name speaker that we had paid a lot for. They got on stage and said, you don't need to buy anything, no online education, because now the good news is everything is free on the internet.
Oh my gosh. I think the thing that's really important to remember in this story, nobody is buying the information. We all know the information is free on the internet. That wasn't untrue. They're buying our filter. They're buying our lens. They're buying the transformation. Welcome to The Shift. If you don't already know, my name's Blue Melnick, and sitting next to me is my lovely wife.
Barry Baumgartner.
There it is. She almost forgot her name. That's right.
I wasn't sure if you were going to say it. I was kind of waiting.
No.
I thought you were introducing me.
Well, in episode 1, you and I had this little discussion, like, should I say your name and you say my name?
Yeah.
I thought that felt
weird.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to do that.
No, I don't think so either.
But it's almost like you're the host of The Shift, and I think maybe you should introduce me. We'll try that on the next one.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Shift. My name's Blue Melnick, and sitting next to me is my lovely bride, Barry Baumgartner. Like that?
There you go. Not exactly like that, but sure.
Got it.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So let's start this episode of The Shift. We have a really interesting conversation because you and I don't remember if it was in a meeting, like it was clearly on a Zoom meeting, and we were chatting with a client, and the conversation was around how courses are dead, right? Everybody's sales are going down. Maybe it was on a mastermind that you and I are part of, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Everybody's sales are going down. Online courses are dead. And it was
that was a mastermind.
It was a mastermind.
It was.
Yeah.
I remember being shocked. That's why I know, because there were some impressive people in there, and there were a lot of people in there, and only 2 of us were making money. And there was a lot of concern about where the industry is going, where sales are going, where high ticket offers, events, and courses are going.
And I kind of felt like I was sitting through a little bit of a deja vu moment. You know, like, have we heard this before? Has this happened before? Turns out it has. And the first time that I think you and I probably remember this happening or something like this would have been around the time that, the internet came out, and probably 5-6 years after that, when like YouTube came out, and all of a sudden.
How old were you?
Let's not talk about my age. I don't talk about your age. You don't need to talk about mine.
When did the internet come out?
Come on now.
I know this is a dumb question.
97.
97. The internet is 97.
I mean, 96, 97, like mid 90s it's not when the internet was released. It was like invented in like the 80s or something like that.
But when it became
when we all started
culturally relevant.
Yeah, let's just say the advent of Netscape really is the internet.
1997.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That makes me wonder. I'm gonna Google that for you.
Do the Google machine.
Yeah. When did Netscape?
Because I remember my first computer. When did you get your first computer?
I got my first computer. I was in high school, so it would have been like 92, 91, 90, 91, 92, somewhere in that range. It may have been late 80s.
Do you know how I got my first computer?
I actually do know this story. Yes, I do. And it'll come as a surprise to nobody who knows you. Your first computer was related to writing.
Yes. Yeah, it was. And I was going to college, and I wanted a computer, and I couldn't afford a computer. My dad's like, we can't afford a computer. And there was a contest on a local radio station, and you could submit something and win an Apple computer for yourself and your school. And I submitted a little poem that I wrote, and I submitted it in the shape of an apple, like the Apple logo. So I wrote it in that shape, and I won. And my school won, and they came to my school and presented it during lunch. And I remember my principal, Bernard Morgan, I love Mr. Morgan, he was amazing, was so excited. Yeah. And so was I. So that was I had no idea how to use it or even turn it on.
Some things don't change.
And this is what's so amazing. This may have been a precursor to how we ended up being married.
Maybe.
There are these 2 nerds on the top floor of my dorm, and they had computers and they knew how to use them. And I became their best friend because they saved me so many times. And then I grew up and I married a nerd.
Yes.
So see, it's like, that was my first nerd experience. And I ended up marrying the biggest nerd in the world. Who's the best?
Well, I mean, clearly not. Maybe not the biggest nerd in the world, but definitely the biggest nerd in your world.
Indeed.
So it's funny you say that. So I just looked it up because I was trying to think of when I got my first computer, and my first computer, for some reason, I remember this, was a 486 SX.
Oh, I have no idea what number
No,
mine was.
first
I
off,
remember it was a pretty little box
no.
that was so elegant. I loved it.
This is
Like, "You're so
awesome
pretty."
because your first computer was a Mac, right?
Yes.
It sounds like it was a Mac.
Yeah, is an Apple and a Mac the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much, which is awesome. My first computer was like a PC.
Ah,
And so 486 SX is the chip that's inside. It was made by Intel.
it had a little floppy disk space back then. It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
loved it.
Mine had a floppy disk too. Anyway, so those are our first computers, but
And that was way back when.
way back when.
But
So
we
mine
digress.
was like early
So,
90s, 91, 92.
Yeah. But what I was trying to remember, what led me to the computer conversation is I don't think I had the internet. I had a computer, but I didn't have internet.
No.
I don't remember having internet. I don't think I had it.
You wouldn't have. My first introduction to internet was CompuServe.
Mm.
It wasn't really, it was like fake internet. It's kind of like AOL. It's not
Yeah.
really the internet.
Yeah.
And so Netscape, to loop back to that conversation for those of you who haven't Googled it yet today, Netscape was first released in 1994. And and then it just kind of continued to come out. So mid 90s is when the internet kind of became a little more popular. And it feels like, I want to say it was like was it Windows 97? I don't remember when the first version of Internet Explorer came out, but when that shipped on Windows computers, that felt like a turning point for now everybody has access to the internet all of a sudden. But there was something that happened around the same time as that.
It's like a little kerfluffle.
Yeah, it was just
Created a kerfluffle.
it was like it was a ripple in the matrix.
Yes.
Right. And what happened?
We fondly refer to as a kerfluffle.
A kerfluffle, exactly. A kerfluffle. So I think what happened during that time anyway, information started to become a lot more accessible, right, to people. And I think there were, at that time anyway, there was this market of, cassettes or like courses on tape. You could like watch if you were up late.
I mean, another funny story.
Let's go.
Is that my very first job out of college?
Yes.
I went to a Peter Lowe seminar. My boss had the tickets, gave me the tickets. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I didn't even know I didn't know what it was. I didn't know who Peter Lowe was. Back in the day, he would put on these all-day seminars at big convention centers. I worked in DC. This was in DC. And he'd bring in famous people to speak. And I remember he brought in Barbara Bush and he brought in Tony Robbins. And that was my first exposure to Tony Robbins. But also, my friend Dina and I, who worked with me, there were 2 tickets. We went together. We were in the nosebleed seats, and they would call they were doing like raffles, but it was based on your seat. They had all the seat numbers. They'd call a seat number. You'd win something. We won the Tony Robbins tapes.
That's awesome.
It was like a little thing that opened up and it had all the
little tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We loved it. We traded it back and forth. I mean, if you had told me that day that someday I was going to work with Tony Robbins, I mean, I would have fallen over. Like, I would not have believed that. But that was my first exposure to true personal development and to Mr. Tony Robbins.
And
tapes.
Incidentally,
I won't say what year that was. It was a long time ago.
Well, I happen to know how old you are. And that sounds like that sounds like it was around the time that the internet was starting to become a little more popular, a little more ubiquitous, like mid 90s ish. So, books on tape or courses on tape soon disappeared, like really soon disappeared right after that. And they disappeared in large part because of CD-ROMs. And do you remember Encyclopedia Britannica?
Oh, yeah.
And then do you remember Encyclopedia Encarta? Do you remember Microsoft's Encarta?
No.
So this was probably more of a nerdy thing, but there was a CD-ROM. Nerd. There was a CD-ROM that was essentially an encyclopedia on CD on CD, and you would put it into your computer, and you had access to basically everything without having like 24 volumes.
Interesting. It wasn't online. You had to insert it in.
Right.
And then you could
It was this short moment in time when you could get information on disc.
Well, another funny story. I'm like a book nerd. And when I was a kid, you know what I really wanted?
What?
I thought when I grew up, I'm going to have all the Encyclopedia Britannicas. Like rich people have that. I was going to have a room in my house with all the Encyclopedia Britannicas.
That's so
I thought that would be awesome.
I wanted Encyclopedia Britannica so bad because I was like, all the smart kids have an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I want to be a smart kid. Maybe if I got the encyclopedia, I'll be smart. So I must have driven my parents crazy. They bought an encyclopedia set for me, and there were different versions of it, right? Like you could buy the fancy version, or you
Yeah,
could
the
buy
leather bound. I wanted the leather bound.
Mine was red, which
yeah, I think they were like a burgundy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was awesome, and I like rarely used it.
Yes.
It really was.
You did all that begging.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, this is awesome. I got to reach the next thing on the bookshelf. Hey, let's stack up a couple of those encyclopedia volumes and use it as a stepping stool.
You're the worst.
I really am.
But then it eventually was on the internet. Is that where you're headed with
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. So we were talking about courses are dead.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I was like, well, really, we both had this moment, but I vocalized it. And I said, I feel like this has happened before.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time. And, you know, the internet, CD-ROMs kind of decimated Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah.
The internet made it even worse.
For sure.
But I sat down with my good buddy, ChatGPT.
Yes.
And I started doing a little bit of research. And I want to give you a couple of quotes.
Okay.
All right. So first quote I'm going to give you is, I'm going to read it because I did not memorize it. So I'm going to look up here. I'm going to say,
am I going to tell you who said it? What am I doing here?
First I'm going to give you the quote.
Okay.
Okay. Books will soon be obsolete in public schools. It's possible to teach every branch of human knowledge.
I do not know who said that.
Well, more importantly, when do you think it was said?
Oh,
and I know you know the answer, actually, but if you just heard that, when do you think like that?
I would have felt like within the last few years.
Right?
Right. And just the way. Yeah. I think there have been those conversations in the last few years.
Totally. Yeah.
When was it really?
1913. 1913. That was said by Thomas Edison.
Now, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like a good Thomas Edison quote.
Well,
1913.
So he was saying, I'm going to give you the rest of the quote because I pulled out a portion of it, which would have made it a little bit more.
I would have known.
You would have figured it out.
It had
right?
a cue.
It's possible to teach every branch of human knowledge with the motion picture. Our school system will be completely changed inside of 10 years.
Motion pictures. The death of schools.
Yeah. And guess who invented motion pictures, or one of the people? Thomas Edison.
I was going to say Thomas Edison.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, no, that one's too easy. It can't be.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's interesting, right? That quote is from 1913. So people have been prophesizing that, you know, education market is essentially going to die as a result of some new delivery mechanism, because that's what motion pictures were, right? Once you combine sound and audio and video, it's like, this is a new medium. Why do we need teachers?
Imagine if he'd known about Netflix.
Well, yeah, no kidding. All right, so you ready for another one?
Yeah.
So that was 1913.
Okay.
This next one,
I'm going to look over here so I don't cheat.
Exactly. Bring the world to the classroom to make universe. Hold on one second. Did I skip something? I did. Did I not? All right. This thing, I'm excluding the thing, is going to bring the world to the classroom to make universally available the services of the finest teachers. Okay, so
so you won't need a classroom,
right? I excluded the first word because it gives away what it's about.
I see.
But again, so I'm going to insert a word for you.
Okay.
Right? ChatGPT is going to bring the world to the classroom to make universally available the services of the finest teachers. Right? Or the internet is going to bring the world to the classroom to make universally available the services of the finest teachers.
Yeah, any of that seems fair.
Yeah, it was radio.
Radio.
Yeah.
When was that?
1932.
Wow.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Right. So with every advent of this new technology, this new way of delivering, I mean, I think what many people think of as entertainment, right? Motion pictures is much more today anyway. It's more about entertainment.
Right.
Same with radio. I mean, if anybody,
although radio had news but yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
If you're on the AM dial, right? The FM dial is where the music lives. At least that's what it was when I was growing up.
It's true.
Was that true when you were growing up too?
Yes.
Back in the day?
There's a slight age difference between the two of us. Not that big an age difference that there wasn't like AM, FM radio.
Oh, that's awesome. So a follow-up to that, which was, about 10 years later or so, the time may come when a portable radio receiver will be as common in the classroom as is the blackboard.
Well, that wasn't too far off that something would be as common in the classroom as the blackboard.
You're not
But it
wrong.
wasn't the radio receiver.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's funny. I was talking with, was it Brian? Brian on our team. We were chatting about blackboards. And he's like, yeah, I mean, there is a blackboard, but it lives behind the screen that everybody looks at.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a classroom
I
in
know.
forever.
Now, that is how old I am. I mean, we definitely had blackboards. We did not have any fancy things. And because I was the teacher's pet, of course I was.
Did you get to clean the blackboard?
Clap the erasers.
Oh, awesome.
Clean the blackboard and clap the erasers. That was quite an honor, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
Not just anybody gets to do that.
That feels
At
like
least that's
work.
what they told me. They're like, this one's not that bright. Tell her.
I feel like you got suckered. Feels like you got suckered. All right. This one is obviously a little bit further forward. But what I want you to hear, and this is not just you, but obviously those of you who are listening, as we
Wait, what was the timeline of the last one?
The last one was 1945.
Okay, so we've gone 1913, 1932, 1945.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going into the future now. What did they say?
Exactly. So I'm going to skip a couple.
Okay.
All right. Because something similar was said, and I have a few quotes on it, around television.
Okay.
Right. When television became basically in everybody's living room. And then again, when like VHS and like at home video became ubiquitous, that was another time when, people were predicting the death of education, the death of, today's version of online courses are dead, right? People were saying essentially that, obviously not about online courses, but about whatever the
impact on education.
Exactly. So here's one. I'm going to give you the year.
Okay.
Because actually, I'm not going to give you the year, but I do think that the quote will make it.
Such a tease.
Yeah, always. There won't be schools in the future. I think the computer will blow up the school.
Yeah. What year was that?
1984.
Wow.
Yeah, for
That's
those of you who
interesting.
are Mac fans,
Yeah.
it's also an interesting year, right?
Yes.
So fun little sidebar. But what's interesting about this is another one of those predictions from somebody saying, this was somebody from MIT, right? In every single case, these are not.
Somebody really smart
Yes.
is predicting
Yeah.
how tech is going to end something,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically some form of education.
And it's
So what you're saying is basically this is not the first time,
no.
and it's a cycle that we go through.
Not only is it
Predictable.
a cycle, but at every step of the way, the education market gets bigger, right? There are more people going to post-secondary education today than ever before,
Mhm.
right? There are more people learning things online, buying online courses, digital courses today than there were 20 years ago, right? Now, there may be some people who are struggling, and I think there's a reason for that, and we'll get into that a little bit. But I also think there's a step around it too. So let's go to the next one, because that was 1984.
Okay.
Here's another quote for you. 30 years from now, the big university campuses will be relics. Universities won't survive.
It has to be after 1984. So relatively recently. In the grand
Relatively
scheme of
recently.
things. So when was it?
1997.
Wow.
This was in reference to the internet, and it was a quote published in Forbes magazine.
Wow.
Universities won't survive. Think about that. They're bigger than they've ever been
And it's
today.
because of the internet.
This was because of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Universities won't survive. They're going to become relics. And again, the concept is like, if you can get everything on the internet, why would I pay, at the time?
Oh, and it's way more expensive now.
Totally.
I mean, yeah.
And it's harder than ever. I mean, you and I we're watching Grayson, who's our nephew, go through getting into college.
I know. I still cannot believe he's going to college at University of Tennessee. We're now Orange fans, like Tennessee fans. Yeah, gotta be. Because Grayson's there.
What's that? What's the song? I'm wearing Tennessee orange for him.
Yeah. That's we like country music. There's a country music song about that, switching from Georgia red to Tennessee orange. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe he's going. Yeah, but don't tell Dad. Yeah, it's hard to believe that he's going to college and what they're paying for it.
That's the thing.
And he's not the only kid there.
And
they just built a huge new dorm, brand new, huge.
Wildly concerned about whether or not he'd ever even get into college. And listen, great, not for good reason. Grayson's a good kid. He's a good student, but the competition to get into school these days is fierce, and that's with everything's free on the internet, and you have AI, and yet people are still lining up. So clearly,
Peter Drucker was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You want to hear the next one?
I do.
We're fast forwarding a little bit here.
Okay.
But it's going to sound very similar to the last one.
Okay.
In 50 years, there will only be 10 institutions in the world delivering higher education.
2010.
2012.
Okay.
All right. So do you remember
who said it?
Sebastian Thrun?
Okay, we don't really know who that is. He might not be smart.
Well, I will tell you, he was either one of the founders or one of the partners, or he ran Udacity.
Okay, never heard of that.
Udacity is
a nerd thing, I think.
It's huge online education platform.
Okay.
They sell digital courses like crazy.
Okay, great. So he's one of the founders of Udacity, and he's saying Udacity is going to put
perhaps
out of business.
What it was actually in reference to was something, I don't know how to pronounce this properly. It's MOOC, which to me is like MOOC. Yeah, I don't know if that's right. But do you remember in 2012, Stanford released their entire curriculum on the internet for free?
I do remember that.
Yeah. So for a brief moment in time, those people who are in higher education, those people who are, selling online courses,
had a kerfluffle.
Well, they did.
It was like the world is ending because their world might be ending, because now if Stanford's done that, why do you need us?
Exactly. If everything is free on the internet, again, a very similar undertone, right? Yeah. If everything is free on the internet.
Fast forward to, I think this was pre-COVID, because it was an in-person event that I did with Dean Graziosi, and we had a paid keynoter on our stage who said that exact thing.
He or she who will not be named?
He or she who shall not be named said, you don't really need to buy anything because everything is free on the internet. And it was very unfortunate because that weekend we were selling something. And so that wasn't the belief we wanted most people to have. That was not in support of our bigger mission.
Mm-hmm.
But, you could see where she might get that.
Well, or he.
Yeah. Everything's free on the internet. But I remember just being backstage and being like, oh my God, are you kidding me right now? Like everything's free on the internet. You don't need to pay for any kind of support. So this has been around for a while.
But I mean,
and recently, it's been around for a long time, and it's been around recently.
Exactly.
And then now we're in a mastermind. Fast forward, where people are like, "And courses are dead. Courses are dead, and the industry's dying." And
totally. And what's interesting? That quote from 2012 about the massively open online course. That's what MOOC stood for.
Right. Got it.
Which incidentally, I had to look up because I couldn't remember it.
Yes.
But the New York Times actually declared 2012 the year of the massively open online course.
Interesting.
And
I missed that one.
Well, listen, so did everybody else, because fast forward to, I don't know, a year and a half later, and nobody knows what a MOOC was. Like, I had to Google it. Like, I remember Stanford.
And you're the kind of guy who should know that.
You would think.
Feels like you would know.
I remember Stanford putting their entire course curriculum online. I don't remember what it was called. I didn't even know.
So
So
interesting.
I like when I was doing my research, I was like, I'm like,
But
what does MOOC stand for?
you and I for the last, I don't know, 22 years for sure, but specifically the last 10 have been immersed in online education. We have our own
100%.
course, we have our own online education. All of our clients have online education.
Yeah.
You can see where there might be a kerfluffle, where people are in a bit of a panic on what's happening. Now that you have ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Victor, whatever, like the latest and
Perplexity. I
greatest
mean,
perplexity.
yeah.
And you can basically ask it anything, it'll tell you anything. Why would you need a course? So the question for you is, our course is dead, Bumonic?
I mean, listen, I 100% do not believe that online education is dead. I'm going to phrase it that way because I do think
And ooh, it's like you take the M and the C away. It's just, and oh.
ooh, ooh. Yeah. So I do think that the way courses are delivered today is going to be significantly impacted in the coming years.
Yeah. So it's interesting to have this delineation, which is the course dead, or is the way the course is delivered dead?
Exactly.
I think that's an important delineation.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing. Early 2000s. Okay. And, this is 3 or 4 years after the internet came out, right around the bubble, right? Do you remember the stock market bubble around online stuff?
Indeed.
So the online education market at that time was like roughly 500 million. Today, it's $353 billion annually.
Wow.
And by all accounts, projection of the online education industry by 2030, and this is a projection that happened like since ChatGPT, Claude, and so on and so forth have been out. It's projected to grow to $843 billion
by 2030.
By 2030, yeah.
843 billion by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big number.
I have to let me double check that. Yep, that's what
it's a big number, and that's not that far away.
And it's almost 3 times what it is today. And you would think, right, like logic would dictate, if you hadn't just heard what we just kind of talked through, where this same argument has essentially been happening for 100 years, 110 years, 2000 or 115 years, 2000 or 1913, when Edison first said books are going to be dead in the classroom. I mean, I went to school 80 years later. They were not anywhere close to dead. I had lots of books in my backpack. And rumor has it, books still do exist. So just saying, sometimes it's not exactly accurate that these things are going to happen. Now, why would you think, Barry Baumgartner, that with all of this free on the internet, everybody is walking around, I don't have my phone on me, but everybody is walking around with what is essentially like a genius in their pocket.
Yes.
Right? Like I can walk down the street and talk to ChatGPT
and get instant answers.
And get instant
to any
answers.
question.
Any question I have.
Somewhat reliable. For the most part.
That is debatable, but let's assume for the most part that I can get a reasonably good answer to any question I ask. How is the online education space going to grow? What do you think? What do you think is the key
why do you
there?
need an expert, and why do you need an expert's content? Yeah, I mean, I've thought this for a while now, and I think it's more true now than it used to be, is that people have actually not been paying us for the information. They've been paying us for the lens, the filter that we bring. If everything's free on the internet, the answer is actually you need us more than before because everything's free. There's so much out there. I mean, I don't know about the last time you've Googled something, but recently I went down this long rabbit hole. And not only did it give me tons of information, it gave me conflicting information, which made it even more. I left more confused after my search than when I started. And so what I was looking for was an expert who could cut through all the clutter and be like, this is the way. Someone I trust, someone I believe in, someone with experience. And it's, there's that old quote. Eric Qualman spoke at one of our conferences, and he said this. I've never forgotten it. This was way back. We were dating. So when was it? Like
it feels like that was like 2011, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in that range.
I think that's right. And what he said, I'll never forget this, is people don't pay you to tell them everything you know. They pay you to tell them what they need to know. And I think that is the key for today's content creator, for today's influencer, is to basically be the curator of the information, to build the trust, build the influence, and be the curator. And then ultimately, what people are paying for is the outcome from that curation, right? Like, I want the outcome. I believe you can get me there faster, simpler, and easier. And I believe you're going to curate the information in a way that's going to allow me to do less, but get more.
Yeah, I haven't done this, but I have a sneaking suspicion if you were to take like a line graph and draw a line and have it be increasing as information became more and more accessible,
Uh-huh.
and overlaid with that the amount of money being spent on post-secondary and post-secondary education.
And just to clarify, when you say post-secondary, what you really mean is
I
like,
mean university, and then
yeah,
beyond that,
beyond
like
that.
adult education.
Yeah, adult education, which is where we are.
That's where we
Yeah.
where we live. Most of our clients are in the adult education space,
Yeah.
right? They teach people how to do a specific thing
Yeah.
so that they can get a specific result.
Yes.
And I think if you were to overlay those two lines, you're going to see a very interesting correlation where as information became more and more accessible, more and more people were paying for a lens or a filter on a specific outcome. And I think that's in part because with all of this information at our disposal, I need somebody that I can trust who's been through it, who has walked the path, who has gone through the journey to get to the destination I want to get to and can show me how, can give me the map.
That old collapsing decades into days mentality.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I don't want to have to guess, like, did I ask the right question? I was joking around with somebody recently. You know, we've all said this, right? There's no stupid questions, only stupid answers. And I oftentimes joke around with, it depends on the person I'm talking to. Sometimes I'll say there's no stupid questions, only stupid people, right?
This is why you don't get invited back to parties.
Exactly. And we were joking a little bit earlier today about how if you ever get canceled, it's likely going to be because of me. That would be a reason for it. Anyway, so there's no stupid questions, only stupid answers. We've all heard that. But it turns out with AI, you can ask stupid questions really easily. So it turns out there really are stupid questions.
Yes. And there are stupid answers.
And AI, at least in its current form, still will not like distill stupid question from smart question.
Right. And to get a good answer, you need a good question.
100%.
Yeah.
And you need to know not just a good question. And this is not about prompting, right? You need to know that that is even a possibility in order to ask the question.
And it's also trusting the source. I wish I had this. I should have thought I had to have this, but there's something recently about the percentage of inaccurate information.
Mm-hmm.
And they had done these studies where it was using ChatGPT and what percentage of it was correct.
Well, and listen, here's the interesting thing.
It was a small percent, smaller than you'd think.
Here's the interesting thing. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, all of them, Gemini, they all use the same data, right? They all use the internet as a starting point, like the world's information. But think about how much misinformation there is on the internet.
A lot.
Nobody's sitting there filtering that stuff.
Right.
Right? Or you just can't filter it at that scale. So if the internet is if AI is about general intelligence, right? General knows everything. So I don't know. It's an interesting conversation.
That it knows everything.
And
like therein lies the problem. It knows everything.
It also means that like when I sit down at my computer to ask a question, and if I'm trying to get to a specific result, I don't know if I don't know where or how to get there, or don't know what question to ask. It's just interesting. Bottom line, that's why people need us. That's why people need you guys, right? Those of you who are listening, who have a skill set, who have a unique perspective.
And who might be in a panic thinking that your industry is about to die, or that your position in it is about to go away, or
that your life skills no longer have value. Turns out they have more value today than they ever have.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We land in the same place.
Totally.
I agree.
And I'll tell you, do you want to just kind of fast forward to next week's episode? Give them
I
a little
do,
bit of a
because
hint.
we've teed up the problem,
Mhm.
but what's the solution?
Yeah, we've provided zero solutions on this particular
Well, listen, I think it's
podcast.
good to hear that you don't need to be in a panic. There actually is not a kerfluffle happening right now. Well, no, actually, better way to say it. There is a kerfluffle happening right now, where there is a ripple effect of all these impacts. But the good news is you can survive it.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is at every step of the way, information isn't the problem, right?
Mhm.
Access to information is not the problem. The problem is direction. People need specific direction in order to get the outcome that they want, and that's where we come in.
And I think they want it instantly. That's a little bit about what we're going to talk about next week, too, is that the one thing that we have gotten from all this AI is this expectation that whatever we need, we're going to get the answer instantly.
Yeah. And just so I'm on the same page with those of you who are listening, when I say that's where we come in, I mean you guys,
Mhm.
right? Not Barry and I, although to a certain extent, but all of us. That's where we come in as online coaches, consultants, speakers, authors with a specific lens and specific life experiences, business experiences that can help you get the result you're looking for, right? When we're talking to our right fit client, we're promising a specific outcome, right? We've all heard outcome-based marketing. That's what we do. We promise a specific outcome. And it turns out that we promise that outcome, and then what we give people when they buy our stuff is content. And there needs to be a shift. That's what we're going to be talking about next week.
Yes.
All right. So with that, Barry Baumgartner, thanks for a good episode. It was a good conversation. I hope you guys liked it. Did you like it?
I did like it. I mean, it's
It'd
something
be really
that
awkward
we've
if she said no at this moment, right?
I did like it. I was pausing because I was really thinking about how complicated this could feel if you don't know the path forward. And, so often when there's some shift that feels so big, like bigger than you, and you're probably seeing this in students not finishing your courses, students not renewing in your programs, finding it harder than ever to serve your student at the highest level, to meet their expectations. I feel like what people really want today is they want this bespoke service, but they want it at scale. And we're going to be talking about that next week because all these things are connected, right? Like, how do you provide the filter? How do you get the more instant answers? How do you provide a bespoke service at scale? How do you meet these changing expectations that your audience is absolutely starting to have?
Yeah. Because one of the things that's really, really true, if you look back over the last 115 years, is the demand for education hasn't changed. It's gone up exponentially.
In fact, it's increased. Right?
Exactly. But the delivery method has.
Yes.
Right, at every step of the way. Encyclopedia Britannica, does that exist in the library anymore?
I don't think so. I have to be honest, I wouldn't mind having a relic.
I have a sneaking suspicion that I may have our old encyclopedias.
I would love that. We should have those.
That'd be really cool.
Yes.
It would be really interesting to read because, they're not dynamic. The knowledge of them ends when they were printed. In my case,
that's
it was like
kind of what's
1990,
fascinating
right?
about it, right?
Yeah.
I would love that. You have to look.
Well, there you go. All right, folks. So listen, if you are watching on YouTube, you should like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to this on a podcast, doohickey. Do you do the same thing? I think so. Subscribe to the podcast. And we have more.
Tune in for the next episode of The Shift.
The Shift next week, right?
Where we're going to give you the answer.
The answer to the shift. There it is. There it is. All right, y'all. Talk to you soon.